today, it's a pretty big day, okay? We are going to be presenting like what we've been working on for many years. To be honest, today is more like the accomplishment of, I'd say, 7 years. I mean, it's been 7 years that I've been waiting for that day. Like, when I joined TVU, like 7 years ago, our CEO, Paul Chen, presented us with that vision, which was going from $1,000 per minute to produce live content down to $10 per minute. That was the big objective in order to allow more events to be produced, but also in order like to give more access to the viewers to like content that was missing today on the market, and also to allow to produce in a more sustainable way. The road has been pretty long, okay? It's been a hard transformation. So 7 years ago was when we launched our first cloud platform. And sometime as the star aligns well, 7 years ago was the first time I met Francetv on my second week at TVU. And we presented them what we were doing in the cloud, and let's say that it was really not ready yet, okay? It's been a lot of challenges since then on our side to build like stronger solution, but also on the market side to understand that like cloud was capable of doing so much more. And also with like strong infrastructure like AWS being able to support more than just like tier 2 or tier 3 events, but also to cover like the major event. And I think what is better than a major event than the major event of the year, the Olympics. So this would have never been possible without working together. And this is maybe the most important part of this presentation today, is that TVU alone would have never been able to accomplish anything. Francetv alone neither, AWS neither. It's all about partnership in this industry. And while today we are just like 3 company here, Francetv, AWS, and TVU, there's been a lot more people involved in that project, a lot more partners, because this is the future of the industry. It's by partnership, partnering together, that we can really make the industry move on and transform and achieve major things, okay? I'm mentioning some example, like the audio. We worked with Dante to integrate with the audio, with Kantar for the playout, TDF for the 5G, and so on and on. There's been a lot of partnership involved in that project, like all the other broadcast projects that we are working on. But Francetv has really been pioneering, like using cloud for major broadcasts, major events. And I remember at IBC last year, we did a presentation with Romuald, and I remember that the company just before us was just saying, cloud is not ready for that. And I remember it was very interesting, because we were like, well, we're already doing it. But it's really not that easy, and they will explain how transforming the mentality inside the company is probably the biggest challenge, and then really working on every day to move on to the next step. So I will leave you with that last sentence and last very nice picture. So this is near Marseille, okay? This is the Calanque. It's beautiful. This is where the Olympic flame will be arriving on the 8th of May. So this is why it's super important to have a very good broadcast quality, so we can make the world dream about France and our nice seashore. But it's also like the favorite sentence that I've heard from Romuald throughout the last 2 years working on that project is, we want to go cloud, but we want the same broadcast quality, and if you can make it better, even better, okay? And it has to be sustainable. This is the #1 thing at Francetv. We want to be sustainable. And of course, moins cher, okay? Cheaper, like that's the favorite. So on that note, I will let Romuald Ra, so technical director of Francetv, take the lead. He will also be joined by Skander, technical director of engineering, and Romuald is director of innovation. And then Kevin will take on to explain the cloud infrastructure beyond that is supporting that massive project. Okay, so Romuald, join us on stage. It's your turn. Big cheers.
Hello, everybody. First, it is important to understand that, oh yeah, sorry for the light. The Flame Journey is not a common event. it looks like the Tour de France, and you will see that we will compare these two events during the presentation. So it will be a very long event, 40 days of live in many territories and cities on a very long distance to cover with all torch bearer. The first constraint was the delay of implementation. In fact, even if we know that the Olympic Games are in France since more than 6 years, we don't know that we will do this cover, this very important cover, until December. In fact, in December, France Television and the Paris 2024 organization decided to make with the Flame Journey a major event with a huge cover. So we had a short delay of implementation, but sometimes short delay help us. I talked about the Tour de France, and the first comparison it is that we don't have the same budget, and really it's not the same. But it's not an issue for us in this kind of project. It can be an opportunity, and in fact, it is the most important opportunity that we don't have the same budget and we have to find the solution. Also, the editorial needs. You all work with editorial crews, and you know that they are always asking for more camera, more crew on the field. It is the same, even if we don't have a very good, a very important budget. You need to talk about sustainability. It is very important for France Television. We are engaged in COP21 objectives to reduce carbon emission, and it is a main topic for the company. And you need to talk about the quality. We want to produce with the same quality minimum, and if we can produce with more quality, high resolution, it's more important. And what I said about the coverage, I will talk about it later, but the France Television wants to make a production with close to the public, very close to the public, very close, like the Tour de France, to the mainland France and all French regions. With all these constraints, it's wanted to produce the Flame Journey like we produce major events like Tour de France, for example, with this kind of setup. Here we use flight and helicopter for transmission. It's like we produce Tour de France. Of course, with all constraints I explained to you, it was not possible. So we had to find the solution. And before to let Skander present to you the setup we have chosen, one focus on the editorial setup. In fact, we don't have one convoy with the flame, but two. It's more funny to have two, okay? It's more complicated. So we have to find two setups for the same budget on the same needs. And we will have 8 cameras. And with this camera, we will have iPhone 2 filming in these 8 cameras. And we will have drones. And, but we want to produce a live with all these cameras with synchronization. We will produce minimum 8 hours of live each day. In fact, it will be 10 hours each day in the majority. And yes, the channel will be during 40 days, like I said. And I can let Skander explain to you, and I will come back to talk about to you about the return of investment.
Yes, so hello, I'm Skander Benetti. I'm head of engineering at Francetv. And I'll present you as a good engineer a lot of diagrams, so please be conciliant with that. So one of the big challenges when we had that aim to cover the flame was to have a good network coverage. And that is always a big challenge, because even if in France we have a good 4G and beginning 5G coverage. Still, it is a challenge to have that in all places, especially for busy 4G and 5G networks when going in a high number of visitors and media all along that flame walk. And then we have potentially traveling through no network zones, for example, forests or coasts where there is no sufficient network. So also we need to address that potential problem. And the same thing is related to conditions, meteorological conditions or natural conditions. For example, if you have rain or storms and so on, it also can impact. So the fact is that we can not only rely on 4G and 5G networks to put up all the signals in the cloud, and still we cannot only rely on Starlink, so we need both of them. We need to have that aggregation of network, to have reliability, to have enough throughput and bandwidth to push all those cameras. So Romuald said we had 8 cameras, go up to the cloud and make this event happen. So basically we have the guy that has the flame going and roaming through France. With the team around it, we see the public which is cheering. There is also the drone and the cameras that are working. That is what Romuald explained a few minutes ago. All these signals go up using 4G and 5G networks to our production site, and we'll present it later. And to put more reliability, we create a 5G bubble using 5G bubble. We'll talk about it later, and uplink of the data going through Starlink, and all that is aggregated and sent to the cloud, where we have the TVU application running on AWS cloud. And then it goes back to Francetv premises, where we have the director and the teams that are working on the editing of this channel, or event channel. So the advantages of this solution is that we will have, for that 5G bubble, a dedicated network frequency, which is completely dedicated to these flows. This network is secure because we have total control on it. The service is stable with no interruptions, hopefully, since we have that mutual backup, Starlink and 4G, 5G networks. We have low latency. We have measured it during 2 test events, and it's around 50 to 80 milliseconds, which is very good. We didn't expect that good. And we have a very high bandwidth for all these 8 cameras going uplinks with around 500 megabits per second, of course aggregated through all the different network types. Working on this are 3 companies, of course TVU Networks, which have all these equipments we can see here in proximity of the camera and the mobile phones, which also are used to upload the video. And of course we have partnership with TDF, which is a French company, and Obvious also, which is a small startup that helped us create this 4G and 5G bubble. Focus on transmission. So we saw that there are different cameras going on, 2 traditional cameras and 1 phone in this engagement crew, which is following the flame. Also 1 cameraman with a moving crew, a drone, and what we call an agile convoy, which is roaming through public and following the flame. And finally, there is also in the stopover city, there is a mini studio that is set up every day to make a recap of the convoy and what is happening. And so that is also with an on-site direction and sent via Starlink to our TVU producer infrastructure. So all this is very interesting because everything is going up using 5G and Starlink as backup. There is no wired infrastructure in place, which is the fact, for example, in Tour de France, we have always all those fiber networks going through. That costs a lot of money. Here is very agile and not expensive at all. Once we have all these feeds going to TVU producer, of course, one important point is synchronization of all the flows. And then we go to the production phase. So now we're going down. So we went from up, and now we are in the production side, which is always in Paris. So the team is always in our headquarters in Paris, with two team members, one production and one audio mixing, that are working on TVU producer infrastructure, which is completely hosted in the cloud, and a commentator position, which is using TVU remote commenter. And all this editing is done quite easily using the cloud infrastructure with only two working positions. Once we have produced a live signal, we send it to the TVU channel infrastructure, which is allowing us to do the scheduling and playout phase. So we have all the TVU products from capturing, production, and now to scheduling and playout. And in this playout phase, we'll have, of course, the editing and the consolidation of different signals. Of course, the most important, let's say, is the produced signal of the flame relay, but still, the flame relay is not always going on. So we have also live feeds from our regional antennas, which is called Francetv, and from regional and premiere editing, also helping to fill up the channel with the 24 hours per day content. Of course, this is used by an editor-in-chief and an antenna manager using this TVU channel interface. And then it is distributed to France.TV and to our OTT distributors, and also to back to France 3, which is the regional channels in France, which is related to France TV. So here is a recap of all the three phases. I think it's very interesting to note that we have, during the transmission phase, production, and antenna continuity, the same TVU ecosystem, all working together quite well. We have made already 2 test events, very conclusive, very interesting. It will be a big challenge starting on the 8th of May to have this going live for 2 months, 24 hours a day. So we are very excited to see the result of that. And I'll let now the floor for Romuald to explain more about the return on investment on 2 axes, financial, of course, and on CO2 emissions. Romuald, the floor is yours.
Before speaking about the return on investment, we made first test, live test with the same organization that it will happen in May. We did it 22 of March, and our conclusion after this test are very good. First, we were able to give us a setup which is strictly tailored to the editorial needs. Skander talked about that. In this organization, we need only 2 people to produce the live: the director and 1 person for the sound, and that's enough. We don't have more, and this is what it is important, that the setup is very flexible and versatile, and also it's a very important point. It gives us very important scalability opportunities. For example, we know that one day we will need 1 person more. Okay, we just need 1 person more, 1 computer more, and that's all. And we can manage it, and we can adapt about with the condition. The quality is in line with our standard, and as we talked, it was very important, and we can control that the quality was there, and we did not have a problem with that. And one very important point was the change management with the technicians, because technicians are working with traditional tools, traditional organization, and we want them to work with us on this future organization. And one thing was important on the setup showed by Skander. You saw that we put USB panel control, and it is not very important, but in fact it is, because we needed to give to maintain professional marks for the technician, and they wanted to have panel like they're used to work with it. And we worked with TVU to implement this panel, and this work together, technicians, TVU engineers, and the Francetv organization was very important. So the key to like Yoni talked about is the strong partnership. It is the key to be able to produce things like this. And we made a very important project last year, producing 3 hours live on the boat, and it was the first step with this partnership, and the result is here. And last things, the return on investment. I'm sure you're waiting for this point. First, the point is still under investigation. Why? Because in fact, it's not a simple comparison. We understood that the difference between the traditional setup is so important that we would not have produced it if we had no other solution. This is very, very important. This is okay. This is why? Because this setup gives us many capacity to produce events we were not able to produce until now. This is a major point for France Television. But if we talk about money, currently we think that more than 65% of savings on the production cost. This is important, and in fact, we imagine it could be 75%. 12 times less CO2 emissions, only for the production part. And of course, to finish, and to let Kevin speaking about AWS, the transmission part, no more planes, no more helicopters. I let you understand how many hundred tons of CO2 we can manage with that.
Thank you. So I'm just to introduce myself. So I'm Kevin Savina. I work for AWS, which is just behind here. I'm in charge of partner strategy for media and entertainment in EMEA. And I just want to give a few closing words of how the cloud as an infrastructure is actually a really important enabler of all of us working together to actually be able to deliver these benefits to France Television. And I always like to work and start with one quote from our Amazon CEO, who used to be the CEO of AWS, is that there is no compression algorithm for experience. And what we've been able to achieve here is actually the result of a lot of work, a lot of experiences done with many broadcasters all over the place, whether it's with TVU or others, across the entire value chain of media. If you look behind you, you'll see it's actually a bigger topic than what we're talking about here. But that experience that we've built within AWS with hundreds of partners, with thousands of customers, that's how we get the quality and the reliability of the cloud infrastructure to be able to deliver these very demanding media workloads. And how do we do it? We actually work within AWS with a constant methodology around what we call the well-architected framework. And we do that, all of the projects that we do with our customers, with our partners, are based on these 6 pillars of excellence of how you run projects and infrastructures in the cloud. So I won't go into all of them, but there's 2 that I wanted to focus on today very quickly. So the first one is reliability. By combining the AWS mechanisms, the tools from TVU, the best practices of how you operate live productions in the cloud, we've been able to help this entire enterprise achieve the reliability that they needed to run live production and broadcast in the cloud. The other topic I wanted to mention quickly, because that was one of the key drivers for France Television, is the sustainability. And one of the things, and the way we think about sustainability within AWS is in 3 angles. There's the first angle, which is the sustainability of the cloud. So that's our responsibility as an infrastructure provider, and I'll have just a quick word on that after. But the second one, which is the one in the middle here, is what we call sustainability through the cloud. And that's actually by enabling these distributed real-time workflows, removing the need for so many cars and helicopters. That's where the major sustainability benefit of cloud workflows comes into. So that second angle being the sustainability through the cloud. And then the third one, which is part of what I was mentioning before on our pillars of excellence, is sustainability in the cloud. So that's how we work on the AWS side with our customers, with our partners to optimize the carbon footprint or the environmental footprint of how they use the cloud, because you can use it well and you can use it bad. And so we try to help on that. And so just to finish very quickly on the first topic here, it's not easy always to compute, but statistics from an external agency tell us that a typical deployment of a given infrastructure in the AWS cloud versus the equivalent on-prem infrastructure is between 4 to 6 times more efficient just from a carbon perspective. So that's on that first pillar of sustainability of the cloud, how we work on optimizing that, and then enabling sustainability through the cloud. So I'll hand over to Yoni for closing. But we're really happy to be able to work with all of these great people to enable it.
Thank you, Kevin. So the closing is very quick, okay? We are very excited. 8th of May, we hope to see you watching the channel. So 8th of May will be the arrival of the flame in France, and this is when this whole workflow will start kicking in. Also, I really want to thank France Television for coming all the way from Paris, okay, to give that presentation. So a big applaud for France Television and Skander, Romuald. I mean, Romuald is taking picture. So, but no, really, thank you very much. Really appreciate. And we really hope that I will help you understand that this is possible. Yes, it requires a lot of work. It's challenging, but the result, you've seen the return on investment, you've seen the benefits on the environment. It's key. It's like this is the future of the industry, and it's ready now, okay, really. So thank you very much. If you have any question, Skander, Romuald, Kevin are here, okay, and we are here throughout the show, and don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much, everyone.